G'day Rockstars, John Hutchison here from conversionrateacademy.com. Now, did you know that split testing your navigation can boost your conversion rate big time? Well, in this video you're going to learn why you need to split test a new navigation and what not to do when naming the items in your navigation, how to make sure your navigation is ultra user friendly, and the secret to getting the user to name and prioritize your navigation items for you. So let's get started now, and let me hand you over to one of our conversion rate gurus.
Okay, so in today's example we're going to talk through this change that Bed Bath & Beyond made to their website. They used to have this horrible left-hand navigation here with this kind of multi-level blowout navigation, which when you hovered over a category, it then brought out the subcategory. But if you didn't quite get your mouse in the right position, it kind of closed on itself, or it then opened up the next category by mistake. It was really fiddly and annoying. And from a usability point of view, it was a nightmare. They then tested this new heading navigation here with the mega menu. Much easier to use and read, much more clearly defined, simple subheadings. You can scan it quickly with your eye and pick out what you're trying to get to. So for your website, this is a really good test to run if you've got an old-fashioned type of menu, or even if you just want to play around with the order of your navigation and kind of the priority of the items you're showing in it. You can do an exercise which is called card sorting, which is kind of an old-fashioned term. It comes from literally writing out all your menu items on a kind of like one of those index cards that you might use for old-fashioned presentations. And you and your team, or ideally your customers, would reorder them into groups of what they felt were relevant to each other, and then in order of priority. And you could also ask them to name them what they felt was the most relevant titles. So perhaps instead of saying bedding gadgets, you could call it I don't know, bedding technology or something like that. You know, you use the language of your visitors. So card sorting essentially is that. There's software that now lets you do it, and it kind of spits out the results at the end with a bit of jiggery pokery. But you really want to make sure your navigation is A, easy to use, B, that you're using keywords and words that your actual visitors would use rather than your own in-house sort of kind of technical speak, particularly if you're in an industry where it's got its own language. And you also want to make sure it's in an order that makes sense to your visitors as well. So just because you've decided to categorize things in certain ways and show, for example here, bedding as the first item because perhaps it's alphabetical, you play around with the order in which your navigation is displayed, and do some user testing, do some card sorting exercises, and really optimize that navigation, and it will pay dividends for you. But remember, split test everything, because if you don't, you could be making massive assumptions that later have a negative effect on your business.
Well, that's the end of today's conversionrateacademy.com's optimization tips. I hope you loved it. Click the like button and also scroll to the bottom and leave us a comment so that we can continue the conversation there. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.